Welcome to Digital Transformers, the show that connects you with what you need to build, manage, and operate your digital supply chain. Join your host in a timely discussion on new and future business models with industry-leading executives. The show will reveal global customer expectations, real-world deployment challenges, and the value of advanced business technologies like artificial intelligence, blockchain, and robotic process engineering. And now, we bring you Digital Transformers.
Hello, everyone. This is Kevin L. Jackson, and welcome to Digital Transformers. This show is designed to educate and inform you, our audience, on the immediate value of digitalization. We do that by highlighting companies and executives that are leading global industries into the digital future. Today, we're talking about the industry known as government. And it's very special because we're highlighting how the US federal government, specifically the US Census Bureau, is transforming itself to prepare for the 2030 census. You think that's way, way off in the future, but it's important to prepare for such a major event. So with me today is Dr. Camille Jones, the Assistant Division Chief of the Administrative and Customer Service. Forward Edge AI CEO Eric Adolphe, the lead contractor for the project, and Ripple's CEO Josh Pendrick, a major contributor to the UCID technology effort. Welcome, y'all.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
No, so Dr. Jones, could you please introduce yourself, the Bureau, and the Emma project that you are skillfully leading?
I don't know about skillfully leading, but I show up when asked to. I'm Dr. Camille Jones, and I have been, I have the pleasure of being the Assistant Division Chief over Dynamic Avenue of Government, where we are leading dynamic doers in innovation, transformation, as well as execution. The Emma project is our electronic mobile medical application. And it came about from an unfortunate incident I had. I got hit by a car.
Wow.
I was trying to be a good wife. And I was out on the roads in Washington, D.C. As a New Yorker, I know better to be out on the roads in Washington, D.C. when snow first hits the ground. Those DMV drivers are gonna get you one way or another, and I got caught. And I had a car accident. And I called my insurance company, State Farm, and they said, well, do you have your cell phone on you? And I said I did. And I took 6 pictures of everything that happened. I sent it to them. And next thing you know, I had a a State Farm claim number. Everything had worked out. I had an appointment for my car to be taken in. It told me where the nearest ERs were to take care of me. They even sent me examples of how I can do physical therapy if needed and what all my policy limits were. And I thought, being over the things I'm over at the US Census Bureau, in my role, I oversee safety, occupational health, our employee assistance program, as well as our personal property and torts claim and workers' compensation program. But I felt like if State Farm could come up with an application to do all of this, right, why can't we as government? And so I decided to make friends. I attended about 7 different industry days. I stopped talking to people who just hung out at Census, and I started hanging out at other agencies. I started hanging out at other forums. I started taking advantage of this virtual environment we're in, attending different conferences via like some of our social media platforms on LinkedIn. And I met about 16 different companies that understood what I was looking for. But then I only met one that already had a phase 1 and 2 process taking place through our friends over at the National Science Foundation. And I said, they've got what we need. If we can transform the work that we do right now, that takes us up to 7 days to complete just to initiate. And if we can do that in under 3 minutes, let's go. Let's do it, government. We speak about being transformative leaders. We speak about being innovators. Let's go. Let's put our money where our mouth is and let's see if we can do it. So I made some friends. And I have to say, I think I made the best of friends. One of them being Mr. Eric Adolphe. And I have to say, he's not too bad with picking out fireplace backgrounds either. So.
No, I mean, there's a lot to unpack there, Dr. Jones, because you talked a bit about partnerships, okay? Not just partnerships with industry and learning from industry, but within the federal government itself. And you actually worked with the National Science Foundation to identify ways that you can improve your own bureau. Is that done often?
I have to say it's not. Sometimes I don't know, we work within silos. We work in the house, or we work within our direct bureaucracy of whatever governing agency is over us. And sometimes you've got to make friends elsewhere. I tell people all the time, like, even with what I do, get some diverse friends. If you're a dancer, find an engineer. If you're a doctor, hang out with an accountant. Find somebody whose thought processes are different than yours. And I have to say, I would not have been able to accomplish what we were able to accomplish if it hadn't have been for my friends from other agencies. When I say friends, just colleagues, people I didn't know, but I just connected with because they were at the same industry days. They were wearing a government badge. They had a gov.gov email address. And so it was like safe for them to talk to. And there was some good people over at the Small Business Administration that introduced me not just to how I could get this done, how we could partner with other agencies, but they let us know what vehicles were out there to get it done. The acquisitions process in government is one that can hinder a lot of us. And if you find ways to just make connections, partner with individuals who know how to, there's so many people in government that have astonishing talent, but they all save it in-house. We're all gatekeeping just for our own. And if we can say, yeah, you can come over. Yeah, you want to know what we do? Here, take a look at what we've got going on. Show off a little bit. Tell people what you're doing. You never know how it can help a colleague across agencies. We've got to learn to drill down these silos and make some partnerships and grab some friends, because as good stewards of the fiscal federal dollar, it's so important when we think about innovative change coming forward. We're no longer going to be able to have those systems that are really just Excel spreadsheets, or those paper-based systems where two people have keys to the file cabinet. Like, we're living in a digital era. So why not get on board? Why not be brave and get out there and figure out how we can do better? How can we be more efficient in what we do? How can we be better to our end users? How can we truly take advantage of this internal and external customer experience we want to elevate? And I said, I'm ready. Let's go. Let's go.
Oh, wow. That is awesome. I really like your broad vision. So Eric, please don't fall off that pedestal that Dr. Jones just put you on.
So Kevin,
yes.
So Kevin, I will never ever follow Dr. Jones in a podcast ever again. It's like, who was it? It's like Michael Jackson said, get the mic and keep the mic and never give it away. She summed it all up. I mean, it was brilliant. There's not much more for me to add to that. I want to say, you could see the passion there. And the thing about Forward Edge, we focus on three things. We focus on national security, public safety, and addressing, complex social problems like bias and those kinds of things, right? So we tend to want to take on these projects that are, that have those themes, but also the sponsors, the partners in government are passionate. And you can see the passion coming from Dr. Jones, and I just love it. I mean, that's just, just absolutely great. And you could tell, so Dr. Jones, the audience may not know this, was the winner of the Fed 100 Award, which is a prestigious award that's given to government executives who are involved in transforming the way government does business. And so we're the presence of royalty here.
Thank you. As a middle child, I so appreciate that.
But yeah,
one of the things, tell us a little bit about you also, as well as your company. But one thing that Dr. Jones sort of mentioned was the Small Business Administration, and I understand that basically a lot of this happened through what's known as an SBIR. So tell me about yourself and about Forward Edge, but why was the SBIR such an important tool when it comes to digital transformation?
Yeah, so SBIR programs, Small Business Innovation Research Program is a passion of mine as well. I've been doing SBIRs for 33 years. That's most of my adult life. The program actually is 40 years old this year. This is celebrating its 40th year anniversary. And it's what's called America's Seed Capital. This program was founded, again, 40 years ago to address concerns that they had at the National Science Foundation about the U.S. eroding, dominance in innovation. And so what happens is it's in 3 phases. Phase 1 is basic research or translational research. Phase 2 is you're taking that sort of research, that proof of concept, and you're developing something that has been de-risked and ready for market. Phase 3 is where the big payoff is. Phase 3, you have the ability to get sole source contracts and in an expedited fashion in the federal government for anything that's related to the technology that arises, extends, or concludes the work you did in phase 1 or 2. And it could be research, it could be services, or it could be products, or any combination of the 3. So Forward Edge participates in the program. We have SBIRs with the National Science Foundation, with Census now, and also with the U.S. Air Force. We've got others that are sort of in the pipeline. But this program, most people will not know this. This will be a surprise to your audience, but companies like Qualcomm, Genentech, 23andMe, LASIK, iRobot, these are American brands, powerful brands that came through the program, got their start from this program. And so it's not a government program. So we were thinking it is a government program, but it's not a government program. It's a seed program to create the next generation of entrepreneurs. Now, one problem with the program is that less than 0.6, that's not even 1%, 0.6% of SBIR dollars have gone through African-American entrepreneurs. That is a tragedy, and that's something we're trying to address. So I've spent the last few years trying to focus on goal number 3 of the program, which is to foster and encourage women and minorities in innovation and entrepreneurship. The program in 40 years has never achieved that goal, right? So we got to do better. But as you can see from the list of companies I mentioned, this program is essential to our economy. You have a number of companies, Google's another one, you have a number of companies that would not be here today had it not been for the program. So when you ask me a little about our company, we're committed to making sure that the Bureau of Census is successful with the Emma project, which is a phase 3 SBIR. We've got a lot, riding on this. We want to showcase this as a success for the Bureau of Census, a success for Dr. Jones and her team, and a success for the taxpayers, right? So just a couple more points about Forward Edge beyond what we're doing with Emma. We're also doing work with the National Security Agency. We're doing some research with the NSA, developing a very low cost, we're talking under a couple $100, and very low cost quantum encryption, quantum resistant encryption device that'll secure edge devices like IoT, SCADA, you name it, laptops, phones, et cetera, and keep it from quantum level cyber attacks. So we're doing some pretty cutting edge things, but again, the point is 3 things. We're focusing on public safety, national security, and addressing these complex social challenges that our country faces.
Wow, well, thank you very much. But I would be remiss if I didn't tell the audience that you are a Federal 100 Award winner yourself. Congratulations.
Yeah, I think they were just giving away when I got it. when Dr. Jones got it, that broke the mold. I think they're not giving them anymore. No, but yes,
Thank you.
yes.
Thank you for that.
But but one point that I want to add, but thank you for
Yeah.
that. I am a Fed 100 award winner, but I got to tell you, that was a highlight in the career. You got these milestones in the career, but I do want to mention a couple of things. I'm the National Capital Business Ethics Award winner and the 4th runner-up for the American Business Ethics Award. Those are, I think, I cherish those. Also thank you. Also the first Black SBIR Tibbetts Award winner, which is, so those are sort of the crowning achievements. And then last one, and this is where I won't say anymore, I won the Service to the Citizens Award. So all of those is sort of like my body of work, right? Service to the citizens, addressing these social issues, innovation. That's what I'm all about.
No, well, thank you very much. They always say, thank you for your service to the military and to first responders. But it's also important to note that the nation has to thank commercial business for their service to the nation. So thank you for all of that. So Josh, Emma apparently uses a lot of different leading edge technologies, including robotic process engineering and natural language processing. But your team is focused on this embedded service called the Universal Communications Identifier, or UCID. As you introduce yourself and your company, Ripples, could you tell us what the UCID is?
Yeah, thank you for Kevin, and glad to be back on the show. But before I get into that, I gotta keep both Eric and Dr. Jones on their pedestals. So Eric, no, as he described him, one of the things that's super impressive, and at least I've been impressed with Eric and his team, is they truly are ninjas at the SBIR game and just doing business, with the public sector. I've learned a ton from them. It's a great team, and I'm really excited to be partnering with him and his team. And Dr. Jones, I want to congratulate you, because you truly being an innovator within the Bureau, because you did a few things when you told us that story about the accident. I mean, number one, you were curious and asked questions like, why couldn't this be different, right? Which it always starts with that, right? Some people don't even get that far. They don't question status quo. Then you took action, which is, again, even the people that question, don't take action. And then lastly, you went and got out of your circle kind of influence and information to make, as you put, new friends, which is how, innovation happens. It's up leveling the level of thinking. So I'm really encouraged, and just want to congratulate you for that, that's something that's, needed in areas where there is so much bureaucracy, right, and silos, as you put. So just wanted to continue to build you guys up on your pedestals there. But so getting back to Ripples and your question, Kevin, I'm Josh Pendrick, CEO of Ripples. Ripples is a spatial computing company that's developed a robust, patented geospatial platform that integrates the digital and physical world in some really unique ways. Most notably is the system enables the ability for digital files to exist at precise coordinates of real world, physical space. And these files can be interacted with via connected devices such as smartphones or other types of IoT devices. And the way we do that is in a variety of ways. We use a proprietary wireless communication network, as well as, which is also patented, and other third-party positioning systems that all come together to create this single platform, which we call Interlife, which is essentially a spatial operating system. And it's that Internet of Space concept that we talked a little bit about last time I was on the show.
Right.
so there's a lot of use cases for this incredible technology, and it's being used to serve multiple markets and a variety of solutions. One of those is the concepts that we're doing with the UCID, which we developed with our partners at TNS. And now what the UCID is, and again, as you put, Kevin, it is what that stands for is the Universal Communication Identifier. And what the UCID is the first device level software service to monitor individual device activity for vulnerabilities at that device level. How it works is we take the unique network ID, the unique ID of a network device, such as an MEID number, which is the stands for mobile equipment ID, that every smartphone and telecommunication device has. It's a unique serial number that assigned to each of the devices. And we take these unique network IDs, mint it on a blockchain, and integrate that with our geospatial platform I mentioned earlier, and also store metadata about the software and hardware bill of materials. And so this UCID was designed to increase the security and transparency for devices of all kinds. The core features for the solution include automating the acquisition of the device hardware and software data, the creation and recording of the UCID on a blockchain ledger. We're using a permission-based ledger. The regulatory intelligence and monitoring capabilities that it offers for regulatory bodies, validation of device transactions, and then also the ability to do automation of processes based on metadata and triggers. So UCIDs have all the benefits of distributed ledger technology, in addition to the added benefits that come from the patented Interlife platform. And that includes all the stuff, the immutability of recording on a blockchain, complete audit history, including spatial audit history, providing asset tracking, monitoring, anomaly detection, and along with that ability to implement autonomous rules or actions in response to specific triggers. So now, as applied to physical devices such as smartphones or network equipment, a primary goal of the UCID is to flag and remediate the hardware and software vulnerabilities, as well as to gain insight in different patterns of risks, including location-based patterns of risk. And the UCID becomes an important component for any device management solution, and especially being able to help mitigate risks in large networks such as telecommunication networks, supply chain networks, IoT networks, and really all these these massive networks with large connected devices. And lastly, in addition to the digital assets, the physical assets, the UCID provides similar capabilities to manage these risks involving digital assets. Digital assets meaning NFTs, cryptocurrencies, specifically central bank digital currencies, securities, and digital wallets. So really, it's a pretty unique product that we came up with there.
Before we get back to that interesting conversation, here's a word from our sponsor.
The Universal Communication Identifier is the world's first blockchain-enabled service for physical and digital assets. Services include supply chain security, device management, software licensing, equipment tracking, and more. Secure your physical and digital assets with UCID today. To learn more, visit ucidentifier.io.
Wow, so it sounds like it's really kind of a broad service. It's not like a niche. It's something that can support not only physical devices, but virtual assets, so physical assets and virtual assets as well. Oh, this is amazing. So Dr. Jones, I mean, we talk about digital transformation, and you really do exhibit a lot of the key traits required for digital transformation, like that curiosity that drives you to not accepting the status quo and sort of getting outside of your comfort zone and your willingness to share information. And as you said, you are part of the Commerce Department. So as a organization that's really focused on data, why is Emma so important to your broader organization? Because a mobile medical paperwork application seems like it's pretty narrow scope. So how is that transformational?
It's called the beginning, Kevin. It's just the beginning. We got to prove it works. We got to prove that everything Eric has promised is truly capable and doable. And then it's just the beginning. It's showing that we can bring AI technology, blockchain understanding into the folds of federal government exercises and efforts. And we can show if it can do this for my little small pocket of the world at the US Census Bureau, then what can it do for the Department of Energy? What can it do for our friends over at Justice tracking inmates? What can it do for our folks over at Department of Navy working on transformative federal finance systems to make sure the warfighter never has to worry about whether or not their check is going to end up in their checking account on the day of payroll? There is so many things to come with AI, and I'm considering us just the beginning. And I'm hoping that all of my peers across government are looking and watching the same way I'm looking and watching them. And they're trying to figure out, how can this work for us? How can this work for us? What innovative needs do we have? We all have something that we have at work that's just like a bugaboo to us, like, damn, there's 17 steps in this. Is there any way to retire some of these legacy systems that were built basically prior to us being born or prior to Eric starting his 33-year journey in SBIR? Is there any way to retire some of these systems and really embrace what industry is doing right now, what may be going over on in different industry structures, what's going on in infrastructure, what's going on in agriculture, what's going on even across the pond in international waters? What innovative things are coming up that our talent can latch onto? Because nobody can tell me that we don't have the talent or wherewithal in federal practice. But do we have a springboard that allows that talent to jump into think tanks and say, I've got an idea, or this is a problem, what solutions out there exist for us to make it better? That whole work smarter, not necessarily harder. How do we bring efficiency in this? And then how many of us are comfortable standing on the other end, becoming the customer, becoming the consumer, becoming that American citizen that's out there counting on statistical data that comes from the Census Bureau? So while I'm waiting on this data to come, has Yahoo given it to me? Has Gardner given it to me already? Have Twitter already letting me know what's going to happen?
Yeah.
Like, we don't want to be, I tell people all the time that we don't ever want to be in a situation where we become Blockbuster. No offense to Blockbuster, but they were the coolest kids on a Friday night you could ever want to hang out with. That Be Kind Rewind was the place to be. Everybody overpaid for Twizzlers and popcorn that you could have easily gotten for $6 less, right? Then this skinny kid, nobody really knew, didn't understand who he was, came into town, walked up to Blockbuster and say, hey, I got an idea. I think if we hung out together, maybe we could do something great. And Blockbuster said, what's your name? And they were like, hey, my name is Netflix. And they were like, nah, we're cool. We don't need that. Nobody's ever going to give up on Blockbuster. We're always going to be the greatest thing
forever.
Ever. And then Netflix said, hold my beer. And now, when is the last time you guys walked into a Blockbuster? I tell everybody, you don't want to be left behind. Right now, a newspaper, by the time it hits print, gets out to your yard, it's already stale. To our hotel industry, you better be watching your back with Airbnb. To our car dealerships, Carvana, Zoom, they're coming. Government, what makes you think that won't happen to us? Yes, this structure will always be there, but if we really want to be where people find the data that they need, be that trusted agent of stewards of information technology, we've got some work to do. We've got some work to do. And everybody thinks it comes from the top of administration, but it actually comes from those of us in seats with boots on the ground, in seats of influence that can make things happen. They're counting on us to bring innovation and ideas. And instead, we're recycling the old. But we can do better. We can spit shine what we've got, of course. Nobody's saying let's throw away our archives of historical data because we've got some great stuff that we've done. But how do we elevate it? How do we elevate it? How do we challenge ourselves to be true champions of tomorrow? What are they going to say about us today in the history books tomorrow? Aside from this whole group out air frying carrots and calling it bacon, we can be innovative, okay? We can do some things beyond the scope of measure. And I'm a firm believer that that exists and lives in federal practice.
Wow, wow. So I mean, the more I hear you guys talk about this, medical mobile application as a description just seems so underwhelming for what it can do. So Eric, can you maybe lift the hood on this vehicle and tell us a little more about some of the technologies that are being used? It's not just a digital way to shuffle paper. I mean, you're using things like process engineering and natural language processing. Can you what are you really doing in this app?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, man, following Dr. Jones is always but yeah, I mean, so when it comes right down to it, what we're talking about is enhancing or transforming the customer experience or the citizen experience, right? Because that's really what taxpayers only care about. This is not federal, but if I go to the DMV, what's the experience? If I need to get a fishing license, what's the experience? What's the experience am I getting from Census? That's what the citizens really care about. And that's where, unfortunately, the government gets a lot of knack. But there's a lot of good stuff going on in the government, innovation. So within Emma, Emma has a lot of what we call emerging technologies that are being brought to bear. We've talked about blockchain, so we're using the smart contract feature of blockchain to manage who gets to see the data and to bring a new data governance philosophy into the agency. We're integrating robotic process automation, and why is that? It's just not a buzzword. The RPA is being used to automate away these repetitive tasks that they have to do over and over and over again, so that they can sort of upskill and focus on higher level customer facing kinds of activities instead of this low end administrative stuff that doesn't have a lot of value, right? Important, but doesn't have a lot of value. We're bringing to bear artificial intelligence and computer vision. You may be aware if they get into an accident, like Dr. Jones was saying, she got into an accident that inspired this. The way that it worked today is they basically take a pen and paper. They're trying to sketch out the accident scene. They go back home, memories fade, and they're trying to sketch it out. And then they've got to file it, and there might be a lawsuit. So who wants to go to court with a hand-drawn paper that was done 2 days after the actual accident? As a lawyer, you'll know that is not a winning hand, right? So the idea is if you could just take a photo on the scene, right? And you have some magic under the hood that analyzes it, fills out the forms and does some things. And then you have the blockchain, you preserve evidence, then wow, you've got something here that's pretty interesting, right? And then we've got other technologies like chatbots. We were stricken, and by the way, across the board, everybody at Census we've been working with are deeply passionate about this project and deeply passionate about the work that they're doing. You've got people, the census itself is written into the US Constitution, right? So it's not something that somebody just said, hey, let's do a census. It's written into our Constitution. And so this is as American as it comes. When they are out knocking on your door, they're your neighbors, they're your friends, they're your families, they're knocking on the door to take the census. The data underpins every aspect of our economy for a fact, right? So everybody we talk to on this project, we're doing business process reengineering. We look, because you don't want to automate, a broken process. You want to take the process, you want to improve it, and then automate, right? So literally everybody we've been dealing with at Census are passionate about this and making it better and being a model that other government agencies can follow. So let's talk about that. Who else, right? So this is not some little tiny thing, right? So first of all, the 2030 census and the 2020 census, the Bureau deployed over 500,000 employees, right, in the field to knock on your doors. That's going to be the largest blockchain implementation project in the federal government, period.
Wow.
Largest enterprise blockchain, period, right? So that's number one. Beyond the census, most people don't know this, but every year the Census Bureau is deploying folks into the field to do counts and enumeration and that kind of thing. It's not just every 10 years, it's every year. So this is not a 10-year problem and it goes away. It's every year. And then you think about it and say, okay, well, who else can use this? Well, the US Postal Service. They go out. They're knocking on your doors. They're delivering your mails. They get bitten by dogs. They get into accidents. It's the same thing. And you could keep extrapolating. You look at like oil rigs. You got people in remote oil rigs. They get injured. What are they doing? So this is not just a nice little project, one-off project in a corner somewhere. This project not only is going to solve a major problem in the federal government, but it's going to be a model for implementation of these technologies throughout the federal government. That is why we have to succeed.
Wow, that's impressive. And something else you brought up, this is not something that we're not going to see until 2030. This is actually something we're going to see in the near term, right?
Yeah, hopefully next year.
Oh, wow. So Josh, I'm coming back to you because you were talking a bit about geospatial technology. Well, I mean, you're kind of known for that. You talked about your patented geospatial technology. So can you maybe tell me a little more about that? Because you guys work in the metaverse, right? You work in Web 3.0 and geospatial and the metaverse, they don't go together, right? Aren't they different things?
Well, yeah. So appreciate that, Kevin. So look, the geospatial platform we were referencing earlier, we call that Inner Life. That's that spatial operating system that I was referring to. And so and as it pertains to the metaverse, what I would think of Ripples as sort of the bridge between the physical world and the virtual world and metaverse.
Sure.
We actually give the metaverse and virtual environments real world context. So that's really where Ripple sits at that intersection of the digital and physical. And so basically what InnerLife does is, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, it uses various positioning systems to map airspace and map kind of physical environment, like in this addressing system, if you will, of airspace. And then enables the ability to store digital files and at these locations, at these precise three-dimensional real-world coordinates. And those digital files could be digital actual files and assets, or they could be commands and instructions. So think of it could be digital media like messages or augmented reality content that you would access with your phone.
So I guess like those pictures that Eric was talking about, you could actually put geospatial data with those pictures so you can prove that the accident worked, that happened at that particular location.
So yeah, certainly. That's definitely a use case. And even in addition to the phone devices, it could be as I mentioned earlier, any type of IoT or connected device. So that, that could look like a haptic device, a wearable that provides haptic feedback as sort of a way of like a wayfinding solution for helping a blind person navigate, let's just say in a particular environment, as an example.
Okay.
So now the system was built natively to incorporate blockchain and facilitate supply chain management. So getting back to kind of the UCID and Emma, when TNS first presented its idea for what later became known as the UCID concept to us, it was a natural fit to use the Interlight platform, given where it was already natively kind of geared up to do, right, for a lot of this stuff, since it's already structured to be able to do this stuff. And one of the benefits of UCID is that ability to signal when a device is getting hacked or cloned,
Right.
which for bad actors getting access to a cloned device could get access to very sensitive data or even entire networks, right? So in the Emma case, this helps ensure the integrity of the critical census data that is captured on Emma devices. But really, just in a broader perspective, the UCID addresses a very, very big problem, and edge devices are now a let's just call it a favorite entry point to all kinds of bad actors, right? And with 70 billion devices by 2025, and I believe it's 6 billion or something smartphones in circulation, there's a huge number of possible attack vectors, right, for these actors, and the cybersecurity problem is becoming a crisis. And so the UCID can help address this crisis. And as the Emma project clearly demonstrates, and it really just kind of underscores everything Eric was just saying of like, this isn't a project in some little corner. Like this has major impact across the board. So we're excited.
Yeah. So, well, thank you all for this enlightening discussion. Unfortunately, we're coming to the end of our time. So, Dr. Jones, could you end this by maybe, telling us what's in your crystal ball for Emma? And then if someone wanted to learn more about Emma, or maybe even partner with your bureau on an Emma-related project, what could they do, or how could they reach out to you?
Come see me. I'm at the U.S. Census Bureau in Suitland Federal Center in Suitland, Maryland. I'm actually, a phone call or email away, and I'm a sharer. I'm a giver. I work hard not to be a gatekeeper. I think it's important that we are all builders, and to build, sometimes we need to borrow. And I am a constant giver. Like I said, I'm a federal steward, so it's not like it's mine to take home and cherish and profit off of. So it's for those that want it and need it. It's my hope that individuals see what we do with Emma. And as you said, this is just like the small token of what this technology and capability can do. And if we can do this for just one pocket of capability of what we do, a little drop in the pond of what's capable with this technology, imagine what you could do over at your agency. Imagine what you could do at National Health Institute. Imagine what you can do over at Department of Education. Imagine what you could do over at FEMA. Imagine what you can do, as I think about what we just went through here in the DMV. Storms are down, trees are on houses, infrastructure and everything's torn apart. Like, what if they had Emma?
Right.
Yes, we can filter to get these policies, claims, get these trees out of the way. We got things that we can get done. And so I like to say, I feel okay with being that new cool kid at the table. I'm okay if we become that Netflix. We will make room for everybody who wants to join and inquire. I'm on LinkedIn as Dr. Camille Adams Jones. I'm on Twitter at Miss Doc Jones. And so as you need anything, Mrs. Doc Jones, that's MRSDOCJONES on Twitter. As you need something, come for me. I'm a work-life balance, mental health advocate in addition to all of this. So wellness is my jam. Technology and innovation is my calling. So I thank you for having me, Kevin. I thank Josh and Eric for just letting me be amongst your company. I tell everybody I am the most underrated, underperforming aspect of my circle, because I want to aspire to those that I surround myself with. And so I always make sure that I'm the one that's playing catch up. And this group, I'm just honored to be about. And Kevin, thank you so much for this platform and this opportunity today. Eric, we've got work to do, so say goodbye. Let's go.
Wow, talk about a call to action. Thank you. So, so Josh, I'm thinking about this. Maybe you should spell Ripple so people can find you on the internet, and let the audience know how they can reach out to you to find out more about like your what's called Light Play app and UCID.
Yeah, sure. So the Ripples is spelled uniquely. It's RYPPLZZ. And you could go to, find us at our website, ripples.com, and, all the social channels, that Ripples is on. And to specifically learn more about the UCID, we have a website dedicated to that product that is ucidentifier.io. And yeah, Kevin, you mentioned the Light Play app, which we didn't get a chance to talk about, but that's a really great product that Ripples has. It's a GeoMessenger app that allows you to drop location-based messages anywhere you want in the world and connect with people around the world in entirely different ways. And you can find out about that at lightplay.app.
Wow, well, thank you very much.
Hold on, Josh, wait a minute. Tell me about that one again. We may need to talk offline about that one.
Picture Pokemon Go meets a social network meets metaverse. That's it. Yeah, you can definitely check it out. Come, go join and follow me, Josh Pendrick on there, and we'll hang out.
Love it.
All right, that's awesome. So Eric, have we missed anything about you and Forward Edge AI, and how can the audience reach out with you? You're mute.
You can't.
Yeah, thanks for not making me follow Dr. Jones this time. So this has been great. Always fun to do this podcast. Josh, I just noticed on your wall there, you got the Boston Bruins, looks like. Too bad, I grew up in New York. Too bad for you. Just wanted to put it out there.
If I had seen that in the beginning, Kevin, I would not have gone forward. If I had seen that in the beginning, I would not have gone for it. As a New Yorker myself. Sorry, Josh.
Just putting it out there, man. So
we're on the same team here.
To reach me, LinkedIn is always good, but the website for the Emma project is emmaapp.ai. That's EMMAAPP.ai. That's the landing page for the Emma app. So feel free to reach out, and there's plenty of information there. Thank you.
Well, great. So thank you all, the audience, for spending your precious time with us. So in closing, I would like to also invite everyone to check out the wide variety of industry thought leadership at supplychainnow.com. And you can find Digital Transformers and Supply Chain Now wherever you get your podcasts. So be sure to subscribe. So on behalf of Dr. Jones, Josh, and Eric, this is Kevin L. Jackson wishing all of our listeners a bright and transformational future. We'll see you next time on Digital Transformers.
Thank you for supporting Digital Transformers and for being a part of our global Supply Chain Now community. Please check out all of our programming at supplychainnow.com. Make sure you subscribe to Digital Transformers anywhere you listen to or view the show, and follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. See you next time on Digital Transformers.